Hi everyone. So today is day 4. We're barreling towards the end, and you might have seen that I had day 4 posted yesterday. It was actually day 3. I jumped a day, I skipped a day, but today is day 4, so only a couple more days to go. And today we're going to be talking about increasing focus. Yesterday was all about creating a sense of calmness in our brains and our minds. And today we're going to be talking about how do we laser in and get our brains to focus better. Because focus is such a huge part of listening fatigue. Because, at least for me, when my brain started getting tired, it could no longer focus, especially in class. I was daydreaming, I was out there, zoned out, I was thinking about other things, and even though I was trying to focus on what was usually diagnostic imagery, x-rays, or physiology, I was daydreaming. I was thinking about what to eat, or what errands I had to do, or just, off in my own little head, in my own little world. And even though I would tell myself that I needed to concentrate and focus, it would only take a few minutes, 10 to 15 minutes max, absolute max. Much less if I had already been in class for a few hours that day for my brain to start wandering again. So how do we increase focus? This topic is actually going to have 2 parts, and today is going to be all about the physical. And tomorrow will be some more creative ways of how to increase focus, especially one that I think certain people are going to love. If you've ever been a bit of a doodler, you'll be interested in that. But today is going to be about how we use the physical aspects of diet, nutrition, hydration, sleep to increase focus. Because our bodies need fuel, and the right kind of fuel will help increase our focus. The wrong kind of fuel will destroy it. Same thing as you would not give a plant Coca-Cola or Mountain Dew and expect it to grow. You give it water, you give it soil, you give it things that it needs. When you have a pet, you don't feed it Twinkies. You don't feed a dog or a cat Twinkies or Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, any of those things, and expect it to be healthy. You give it what it needs according to what it's supposed to eat. And it's the same thing for us. If we want to go through our day and be energetic, be able to focus, be able to live life at our optimum and go through our day at our optimum instead of feeling tired or worn down or getting sick, we need to give our bodies the right fuel. So how do we do that? You want to make sure that before you go to class, you're giving yourself the foods that you need to be able to focus and to stay alert and stay active. So ideally you want to make your meal a mix of protein and slow-burning carbs. What are slow-burning carbs? They are carbohydrates that have a lot of fiber in them. Optimally, these are going to be your fruits and your vegetables, because particularly low sugar fruit and vegetables, because this is going to digest and break down in your stomach slowly, which will help give you sustained energy. Same thing with protein. It's going to break down a little slower. And you also want fat. Yes, I know fat has been vilified. It's been demonized, but fat is important. Our brain is made up of cholesterol. Our brain is made up of fat. So we do need it, and we need it for our brains. But you need to give it the right kind of fat. So these would be things like avocados, nuts, coconut oil, things that are still heart healthy and gut healthy and can feed our brain, but don't tax our cardiovascular system and aren't going to mess with our liver or any of our other organs. So you want to stay away from like the fried foods and a lot of the vegetable canola oils, that sort of thing, and aim for minimally processed and heart healthy fats, like your avocados, like your coconut oils, and nut butters and that sort of thing. Also, again, minimally processed. Then you want to take your plate. So you want a portion of vegetables, your heart healthy fat, your meat if you eat meat, and then you can also do some other forms of carbs. Try and avoid a lot of the grains, but if you do that, make sure it's minimally processed. A lot of people do have problems with wheat, so make sure that you don't have any sort of gluten intolerance. If you're going to eat wheat, ideally it's going to be whole wheat, brown rice, or you could look into some of the more exotic, so to speak. It may not be exotic for you where you are, but grains that such as like amaranth, bulgur, couscous, those sort of grains that don't have gluten in them or are minimally processed and just in general a little healthier. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, whenever you need to focus, you want to have a mix of protein and carbs and also healthy fats. You want to eat enough to be full, but not overly full. Before class is not the time when you have a very heavy meal, because what's going to happen if you have a very heavy meal? It's going to make you sleepy, because all the blood is going to be diverted into your stomach to digest that food, and not so much in your brain, not so much in the areas where it's going to keep you alert. You want to, as much as possible, avoid sugary foods if you're going to be in a situation where you need to focus. Why is that? Because sugar sends your blood sugar on a roller coaster, and it's going to cause your blood sugar to spike, and then over time it's going to cause it to crash. So you're going to get in class, you're going to feel fine, maybe you're going to even be a little hyper, and a half an hour goes by and your blood sugar has plummeted, and now you can't stay awake. So make sure you're eating slow burning carbs, lots of fiber, protein, healthy fat that will give you sustained energy over the long run. Then, so I'm checking my notes here. You want to make sure that you are hydrated. So, water. That's going to be your key. Yes, you can drink coconut water. You could do tea in moderation, or coffee, but remember those are diuretics. But water is going to be essential. Even a slight amount of dehydration is going to make you lose your focus. So you want to stay hydrated. Your brain and most of your body is made up of water, And in order for it to operate optimally, you need to be hydrated. So carry your water bottles, sip it throughout class, drink water before with your meals. It'll help you digest your food better, and just stay hydrated. Then the next thing would be exercise. If you have a chance during a break, especially if you're feeling sluggish, if you get a break during class, even if it's not long enough for you to go out and walk, stand up, do some stretches, move around, and just get moving, because that's going to push the blood to your brain, which will make you more alert. And when you get blood to the brain, you get more oxygen, because oxygen is carried throughout the blood. So you will need to just get moving. Go take a walk if you can, even if it's just down the hall or just outside around in the parking lot. Walking again, that movement will help pump the blood to your brain, which will allow you to feel more alert when you come back and you settle down. And there are also some brain exercises that will help focus. Doing like cross-lateral exercises can help. And I'm not even sure if I can show you, but if you do what's called a cross crawl, and you can even do it sitting, you can do it laying down, standing, but it is a cross-lateral exercise, and walking is a form of this. But basically you want to take your elbow and bring it to your knee across your body, ideally looking at that time, and that will help sync up the two hemispheres of your brain and will help you focus a little better. So you can try that. So you just bring your knee diagonally, so it would be my left knee to my right shoulder, and at the same time my right elbow is going to that left knee. So you're bringing that, and then you can look to the side of your elbow at the same time to increase that, increase the syncing, increase that contralateral movement. You also want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Most people work best around 7 to 8 hours a night, sometimes a little longer. Teenagers, obviously, and younger children need more sleep. A lot of times they need more like 9 hours of sleep. Maybe 10, that's more for younger, much younger children though. But you want to make sure you're well rested. Try not to oversleep. Sometimes sleeping too much can also leave you foggy and fatigued. It can almost be as bad as sleeping too little. So, but try and be consistent with bedtime and the time you wake up. Sync. Your body is meant to sync with the rising and setting of the sun. So once you get closer to bedtime, try and dim or eliminate a lot of the artificial lights. So dim your lights. If you do use the computer and you're having a problem with being awake, you can either put it into night setting or use like the ever so fashionable blue light blocking glasses, so that your brain is not artificially stimulated by that light, and because that will then wake you up, send you the signal to wake up instead of falling asleep. When you wake up in the morning, try and get natural light, because that will send a message to your brain that it's time to be awake, it's time to be alert. And especially if you're going into a classroom or your workplace, getting some natural light will help wake you up before you are then any artificial light. This is not always possible, especially in winter time. If you're getting into a building before the sun gets up, before it's daylight, this may not be possible. But as much as possible, try and get some natural light, and that will help stimulate your brain, and let it know that it is time to be awake. So that's all that I have today as far as some of the more things that you can do for your body to help increase focus. Tomorrow we're going to work on some more creative ways that will help increase focus. And I will see you tomorrow. So homework, before I forget, homework will be try some of these, like change your diet maybe for today or tomorrow if you're watching this tomorrow. And then try getting outside, get some fresh air, get some natural light, go to bed earlier if possible, and see if that helps increase your focus. And then post about it in the group. Let me know, did you experience a change? Were you able to focus better? Were you more alert when you had to listen for an extended period of time? Did you feel like your listening fatigue decreased a bit, or did it not have much effect on you? So post it in the group. If you're gonna do a live, try and do a transcript. So other people, just even if it's not word for word, just writing like a general overview, so everyone can kind of get what you were talking about and the information that's in your live, even if they can't follow it. We want to try and be inclusive for everybody. So I will talk to you all tomorrow, and have a great day. Bye.